started. This is our Live Connects You lesson for Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. It is 12 o'clock p.m. And this week we are going to be working on concept mapping. Do you see that bluish green background there?
Can you see it? Put your phone up.
Yeah, good. Steven, can you see it? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so I was talking to you guys a lot about Mr. Rogers these past few days. Who was Mr. Rogers? Cassidy?
He was the creator of Daniel Tiger.
Yes. Anything else about Mr. Rogers?
And he also, he kind of like, he has like the same kind of like title as Daniel's Tiger's Neighborhood, but it's like Mr. Rogers.
Yes, so Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood began in the 1960s.
That was just 10 years later before Mom and Papa.
There's Benicia. Yeah, so it began in the 1960s, and my mom actually grew up watching Mr. Rogers, and my brother and I grew up watching Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was on from the 60s to 2001. So I was in kindergarten when it ended, and I loved Mr. Rogers. Very special to me. Like I said, I grew up watching, and he helped me through a lot of difficult times of my childhood.
Nervous.
And
Can you see me?
About 11 years after the final Mr. Rogers episode aired, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood aired. So that was super cool. And we're going to do a little bit of Mr. Rogers trivia.
How are things going?
So you can pull up your Hangouts, and we're going to do just like we do whenever we have riddles.
I've never watched that.
It's okay, because a lot of this is just guessing.
Okay, that happens.
Totally okay.
Especially being in a cyber school for the first time.
You're going to pull up your Hangouts and send me a private Hangout if you want to take a guess.
Do you remember what my advice was for you when you
So
started?
the first question. Do you see the picture of Mr. Rogers with his trolley on the left?
Uh-huh.
You kept telling me
All right. That trolley runs on a track. How many miles did that neighborhood trolley travel during each season of the show? So for 1 year, how many miles
you are on a lot.
did that
You're in
travel?
the office during the day. You're on a good
Send it in a Hangout. Take a guess.
100.
Send it in a
But you have
Hangout.
to give
Take a
yourself
guess. I can
break
hear you.
too, Okay. So what are some things you could do to shut your Chromebook and walk away from it? What's something you could do?
It is
What
not
is it?
100.
Okay. You like to draw? My son loves to draw. What are some things you like to draw?
Send it in a Hangout.
1,000.
Oh, that's what he likes.
It is not
Maybe
34.
someday you can take a picture.
It is
or
not
something
40.
and send it to me.
It's not 10.
I usually
Thanks.
tell my
It's-
learners to go outside for a walk.
I went on a
There's
muting
kids out
spree.
there.
It is not 1,000. You have to go higher.
Oh, how many do you have? 3. What are their names?
Okay, I'm going to count down. Okay, 12,000's too much.
Awesome.
2,000's
You could do
not
that.
enough.
You could watch a show, have a snack.
10,000's
Like,
too
if you're
high.
working
So
for
somewhere
an hour,
between, it's
I
not
would take a
3,000.
break. It's
Somewhere
really, really
between
important.
3 and
Okay.
10.
How do
5,000.
you feel about your classes?
5,000 miles. In 1 year, that little trolley traveled 5,000 miles. All right. Question 2.
They do.
Which museum has one of Mr. Rogers' trademark sweaters as a part of its collection. So the sweater in the middle of the slide, that is in a famous museum. Which museum is it?
Are mom and dad there with you? Your mom is.
Benicia typing. Steven sent me something. Question mark. Do you have a question or are you not sure?
So,
I never went to any museum.
All right, that's okay.
History B and
That's
US
okay.
History Reconstruction. Are they the only three?
Cassidy, do you have a question?
I really never done this, but have I tried?
Just beginning and feeling.
How about I never heard of any museums that has Daniel Tiger stuff, but I have seen museums, but I never went to one, so I don't have any answer.
All right, so I'm going to give you all a hint that might be helpful. It is in Washington, D.C., and there's many of this type of museum. So there's the American History Museum where Mr. Rogers is. There is the Air and Space Museum. And this museum was featured in Night at the Museum too. The name of this museum starts with an S. Okay, 10 seconds and I'll tell you.
I heard mom say something.
That's right, Stephen.
Okay, good.
Looks like Aiden's typing.
So, I mean,
that's right, Aiden.
Working so hard. I don't know.
All right, let's see.
How, I mean.
All right, it is the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. And I actually went to this museum and I saw Mr. Rogers' sweater.
She says it's difficult.
All right, this is another sweater question. This one might be a little easier to answer.
My thing is,
where did Mr. Rogers' sweaters come from?
So, with her just enrolling a couple weeks ago.
And here's a hint. They did not come from a store.
It's hard to, I'm not going to lie.
Where did his sweaters come from? Not a store.
Overwhelming.
Close, Aiden, not quite.
Okay.
You're really, really close, Stephen, but how? Who did it? Did he do it or did someone do it for him? All right, Aiden's real close.
Yeah.
Oh, Venicia's close. Not quite, Stephen.
So let me just quick go in here. I can view some of her classes.
No, it was your first answer, Aiden, but it was not.
Yeah. Are you opening right now? Yeah. And like, to me, that just sounds crazy.
Really close, Venicia.
Yeah.
That's right, Stephen, but who?
So,
all right, 10, 9, 8. Good, Venicia. 7.
Yeah,
6,
I understand that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Where did Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers' sweaters come from? His mom. She knitted all of the sweaters for her loved ones every year for
Zoe,
Christmas
is that what you're
until she died in
Google Doc for that?
1981. So all of the sweaters
That's
that
where you're
Mr.
writing it all
Rogers
down?
wore were knitted by his mother, and he wore them
Okay.
long
'Cause
after
when
she
I've
passed
just,
away.
when I go into
And
Googler
then
and see you
they
working,
just got
that's sort of
so
what I can
rough that
see
they
you
couldn't be
working on.
used anymore. So right before the show ended, they had to actually buy the sweaters. But for the most part,
So
they're
all
from
of
his
your
mom.
lesson grades are
All right,
really
this is my
awesome.
favorite
So you're doing
fact.
the project.
What is
Expository
Mr.
essay.
Rogers' neighborhood?
Okay.
What is his hometown? When he was your age, where did he live?
Seems like a whole lot.
Stephen, you're on the right track, but not that close.
I
A little further
sometimes-
away.
Not sometimes, a lot.
Not that far
Tell my
away, Aiden.
letters, not always to worry about the word.
That's a
count,
lot
but what the
closer, but
content is.
not that city.
So if you want to share your document with me, I can review it and sort of let you know. I mean, it's not my class, but I am going
Pretty
to reach
much,
out to these
Stephen.
teachers.
A little smaller, but
So
right
with
beside
Odyssey,
it.
We have Odyssey Ware. You're not in there, but those are teachers from here. And then Odyssey Ware Academy are teachers
All
located
right.
elsewhere.
It is
So I just
time.
want to make sure that they are aware.
No, not
They
quite,
should have a copy
Venicia.
of your IEP.
He was from
Um,
Latrobe, Pennsylvania. He literally grew up
that
and
might be
raised his
something that you'll be
kids
able to look at
and
projects
passed
and
away
stuff
and was
like that.
buried in Pennsylvania.
So if
So
you had
super
to
close
pick
to home.
one class,
All right,
which
last
is
one.
giving you the hardest difficulty?
Mr. Rogers weighed himself daily, and he liked to stay at exactly 143 pounds. 143. Why? That's an odd number, not 140. 143. Why 143?
Yeah. So when you go in,
He liked
are
the
you gonna be
number?
looking at your
Yeah,
worksheet
there's a
and
reason he
it's
liked the
like
number.
14 behind. Don't worry about that. Like, don't, I know it's easy for me to say, but if you're spending just a couple hours a day to get what you can done,
Aiden's
what
typing,
you
Steven's typing, Venicia's typing.
you're not working
Cassidy!
from like 8 in the
Any
morning
ideas,
to
Cassidy? You're not
8.
typing.
And it's really important.
Did you look that up, Aiden?
When you're like feeling
Did you
frustrated,
cheat?
You're gonna like
You
scream and
didn't?
cry, like you gotta shut
Oh,
that
I
person
thought I
up.
could stump you. All right,
It's like
Aiden
the
got
biggest
it.
and best advice
It
I
is
will
not
ever
his
learn,
address.
because
It is
even
not
here,
his
like, when I'm
birthday.
here working, I have to walk away sometimes, So just find some I would work for like 30 minutes to an hour, walk away, take a break, come back to it, okay? Because it seems like you have that flexibility in your schedule.
Venicia's typing.
Mom and dad are
It's
super
not his
awesome
shoe
and helpful, and I
size,
love to
but
hear
that's a
that,
good
so
guess.
That's awesome.
That'd be some pretty big feet.
So
Aw, no, but that's
for
a great
now, I would
guess,
say just to keep
Venicia.
working moderate.
All right. So,
Um,
Aiden got it. It takes one letter to say I,
students that come here.
4 letters to say love,
So,
and 3 letters to say you.
Speak for the district.
I
speak for, like, myself
love
and
you.
what would help you and work for you.
It was a hidden message.
So, and like I said, I just
143.
wanted to sort of check in, see how
How
you were
cool
doing,
was that?
hear your sweet voice.
That's super cool.
And talk to you a little bit about
All right,
So
now that we have a
help
little
you
Mr.
feel
Rogers
better.
trivia, it is time that we get to work.
Yeah.
We're going to do
So if
some
I ask you
concept
tomorrow if you
mapping.
work for 7 hours today,
This is what we're going to be learning about this week, is concept mapping.
No,
You need to look
That
at
is weird.
All right. So
Benicia
you want to
thinks
send
that's
your
weird.
essay to me,
It's
you can go ahead
different.
and share that, so how to do that.
All right, so looking at this page right here, what do you think a concept map is?
5 towns.
Say that again.
5 towns.
5 towns.
Hmm.
No, but that's, I can see where you're getting at. All right, so we have 4 red circles and 1 green one. And the green one's bigger than the 4 little ones. Does that help?
Oh, I know.
What?
They're states. They're countries.
No. Aiden, you look like you had something.
Awesome. I already got it.
No.
So I'll look at it. And I'll send it
All
right
right,
now,
so
what I
look
think,
over
and
here.
then I'll reach out to the teachers that you have. and
5,000
ask
miles.
them,
Aiden,
and
5
you
answers.
know, that might bring some alleviation, less stress.
And there's one in the middle.
So
What's the question?
we'll
It's in
go
the middle.
from
You
there.
put the topic.
If you need anything, please ask me.
Aiden was getting it. I heard him. He was working it out.
And then if
So
you would
Aiden
like
said
to
there's
check in
one
with
big one
me,
in the
I'd love to
middle,
talk to you again,
and
just to
that's
see
where
how
we
you're,
would put
you know,
the,
feeling from this to
What
that.
do you put in the middle?
But remember, take those breaks. It's really
You don't put this
important.
where
Okay.
5,000, you're 143
All right.
for Mr. Rogers. Okay, so
Mr. Rogers. Yeah, and why Mr. Rogers?
All right. So enjoy your lunch. I'm actually going to go eat. some.
Because
Have a
Mr.
great
Rogers
day.
is
Thank you
the
for getting on here.
topic.
Okay, bye.
Cassidy, do you have a question?
No.
No? Okay, I saw your arm up. All right. So what would I do with these 4 things over here?
Put them on the other circles.
Okay, put them on the other circles, but why? What do they have to do with Mr. Rogers?
Those are all the answers for our Mr. Rogers trivia.
That's right. They're all from our Mr. Rogers trivia. They are topic. They relate to our topic. Uh-oh. Come on.
Gosh.
All right.
Reset.
I don't know what I did.
It reset. It undo.
Alright,
It undo.
there we go. That's good. So these all relate back to our topic, Mr. Rogers. And I see Blake joined us and he has his little cardi on. I love it. Awesome. So this week we're going to be talking about concept mapping or brainstorming. So this is kind of what you'll be doing this week. Oops. All right. So your learning target for my kindergarten, first, and second graders. I can understand how to use a bubble map. And for 3 and 4, I can complete a mind map on a familiar topic. And then for this week in Connect You, the lesson plan is right here. Our lesson that we're doing right now will be here, but Stephen, Cassidy, Aiden, Venetia, and Blake, you do not have to do that since you're here. Explain, elaborate, and express, just like you do every week. Nothing changed. Code word for my learners not here is kindness. Kindness. All right, and we're going to end. We began with Mr. Rogers. We're going to end with Mr. Rogers. There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. The third way is to be kind. So always be kind. And this is Kindness Day, so please make sure that you do something kind. Like I said earlier today, one act of kindness every day of the year can change 365 lives. So you do one nice thing a day for a year. That's almost 400 people that you could change the world for. So that's pretty spectacular. So always be kind. And what's our code word?
Kindness.
And why is it kindness?
Because we had to be kind.
Yes, thank you. All right, great job, friends. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking part in the trivia. Everyone got at least one right, so that was cool. And we learned a new thing. And have a great day. If you have a question, you can stick around. If you are good to go, then I'll let you go to do your Connect You assignments or whatever you want to do for the rest of today. And you can just click the Leave Meeting button at the bottom. Thank you, Venicia.